Okay, this is another example of what you can do with a piece of foam. This is pretty old, actually. This is probably, 14 or 15 years old, this skull here. What it is an accessory that I made for my Oscar the Ogre costume. The only part of this that I didn't make is this plastic bone that I got at a dollar store. I use it to house the batteries that operate some of the features in here. You notice I have LED glowing eyes. I have a circular saw in the head. I have a noisemaker in my mask. I have a whistle, a circular whistle, and my mask that I blow on when I run the blade. It's well, it sounds better when I have the mask on, okay? But I can wave that at a crowd and people will usually get out of the way. It won't hurt anybody, it's just a foam rubber blade. This also has a strobe in it that I use as a fake weapon. It doesn't really hurt anybody, it's just a quick flash that's mounted inside the mouth here. It's just a strobe that I picked up at a yard sale for $1 or $2 and wired up the trigger to a trigger that's in the back of the head. Since I use this at costume parties, one of the things that's handy to have in there is a clock, because I can't see my wristwatch and they're always saying, oh, the judging is at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you don't see any clocks usually, so I got one at a dollar store and planted it in the back of the skull. A lot of people think that's hilarious, but at least I know what time it is. So that's I call him Buzz, because he's got the buzz saw on his head. And another thing that I have here, this is a real simple piece. My milkman character that I use on the television show. One of the things that he carries around, like the Penguin would have his umbrellas that he'd carry around on Batman, which is what we were shooting for, coming up with a Batman-like villain for our show. I have my cow cane, which is simply a cane from a dollar store that I've altered the handle on there so it doesn't take up as much room. And I just take a piece of scrap foam, a little block of foam, and I carve it so it looks basically like a peanut. Just, you know, big on each end and narrow in the center, both from the top and from the sides. And then I spray paint the front, I cut nostrils in there, spray paint the front orange, and then little dark paint into the nostrils. I glue some big bobble eyes in here after I've sprayed the eye sockets, the gray paint, and the horns, and well, I take the scrap from carving out the rest of it and carve the horns out of the scrap and the ears and glue them on with hot glue. Then once it's all painted up and looks sinister, angry, the milkman owns Angry Cow Dairies, so it's the opposite of the Happy Cow cheese, I guess. Laughing cow cheese, it's angry cows. And I take this and glue it onto the top of the cane and to make a slit up here and shove it on there with a bunch of hot glue. And now I've got my my cow cane, so I can threaten people and I'll put you out to pasture for that, young man. Stuff like that. I call everybody a meadow muffin, and I hit people with the cane. I'm a sinister guy. What can I say? I'm not a nice person. At least not on this show. Okay. Okay, this is a display board I put together that shows 4 different steps in sculpting a piece from foam rubber. We're starting over here in the upper corner with a plain block of foam. You notice I laid it out. I've got the face drawn on the sides and the front with a marker. And then I take a razor knife, which is basically one of these, a box knife, and I make the cuts in there, and I carve this out with a box knife from that, to where I put in the eyebrows, the cheeks, the lips, the nose, the facial features, basically. Then I take scissors and use the sides of the scissors, not the tips, but the sides of the scissors, to round off that, a piece like this, to where it looks more like this.
Keep it rolling after he's done. So I
See
can
where it's got rolled lip and cheeks and everything's all rounded off. A lot smoother than the rough cut up there on the other corner. And the last step, I put a back on it. I put another piece of foam on the back after I've cut a hole out in the front of it that gives me a place to put my hand up inside so that I can open and close the mouth. See, I can't do it very well from this angle, but the mouth opens. And Al was talking to me earlier about using different materials. Can anybody tell me what these teeth are?
Marshmallows.
Chiclets, gum, chewing gum. That's just chiclets glued into the bottom jaw of the mask or the puppet with hot glue. They make great teeth. The eyes are little styrofoam balls that I got at the dollar store. This is some shaggy black fur I cut off of a stuffed animal. And you can see how thick the head is by adding the back on and sculpting ears into it. And it's glued together with contact cement around the seam. Now, if I were to glue take a sleeve from a shirt possibly and glue it up inside of the hole in the bottom here, we'd have a kind of an ogre hand puppet that we could use on a puppet show. And you can do anything like that. It doesn't have to be a monster. It can be regular characters. Do whatever kids show or kids story that you want to do. And you make your own puppets. Just lay them out with foam rubber and sculpt them down. And you can, if you're good at sewing, you can probably sew clothes for them too. You can make little hands out of foam scrap and put them on the end of the arms and work them with a clothes hanger wire so you can move it around. Okay, now let me show you an example of what you do with something like this. Smile. Yay! There you go. See, they're very flexible. This is something that you can do. This is an example here. This is, let me tell you what this is first. This is insulation board. This is what you see the carpenters putting in the walls of houses to insulate. This is a 2-inch thick piece. It's probably thicker than what you'd see the carpenters using, but it's available at your home building supply places. What I did is I took a gargoyle head that I carved from foam rubber and glued it onto the front of the foam. Now I've carved bricks into the foam and painted it, so it looks like it's mounted on a brick wall. But I have a hole in the back, so if I have this thing placed in a window in the front of the house and the trick-or-treaters come up, I can tell them, only take one piece of candy, kid. You know, just put my hand in the back and run the mouth. There's an example. It's alive!